Bucks on a back-to-back versus the Rockets tonight. Chris is back. What are we doing?
Breaking down Bucks.
Let's do it. Yes, sir. And the place to be. We're breaking down Bucks at home versus the Rockets tonight on a back-to-back. Rockets come in on a 5-game win streak. Bucks on a modest 3-game win streak. What were you expecting tonight, Drew?
I was expecting them to be a little bit gassed, to be honest. Starters played quite a bit yesterday, and they were going to be asked to play quite a bit again. And I was expecting low energy.
Yeah, we had Chris back tonight, Drew. We also had Ajax starting for the second consecutive night.
Kind of starting to get the feeling that might be what the roster, the starting lineup looks like when it comes end of the season playoff time, does it not?
Yeah, he certainly gives them a spark. And I was surprised to see that he's shooting 39% from three this year as well.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's shooting 39% from three.
Feels like he's shooting 22% from three.
Yeah, he's had some bad misses, hit the side of the backboard, but the percentages don't lie. He's taking good three-point shots, uncontested, usually from the short corner.
And he's a clear fifth option offensively with that unit. There's no fighting for shots. He's just out there to defend, and he's getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, and cause havoc, get out on the break. He was able to get out of the break a few times tonight.
Yeah, he showed his athleticism quite a bit, and I think it was a little surprising. I don't know what your thoughts were on giving him that start over Marjan, right? Like, that's kind of the question at this point.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Clearly, they're turning to Ajax for his defense and his effort, as opposed to Marjan, who might give you a little more offense.
And I think having the combination of Marjan and Bobby and then Pat coming off of your bench gives them a different dynamic offensively. If you reverse those and you put Jackson in with Bobby and with Pat, you don't have the same kind of offensive fluidity, if you will. And Marjan is going to be needed to do that at points in the season and possibly in the playoffs. So I think this is probably the best route for this to go.
Yeah, and I think Ime Udoka's done a good job in Houston this year. Not a lot was expected of them. They're above 500. They were clowned for bringing in Dylan Brooks, but that looks like a pretty good signing to me.
Yeah, he certainly plays hard. I don't know how effective you can say his defense was. I think Dame had 40 tonight or 39, and Brooks guarded him most of the game. But he definitely brings kind of a bravado and a more veteran. And you could see with that roster, I mean, they just had some older guys who are on the team and can get minutes, and I think that's been helpful for some of their younger guys.
Yeah, kind of a what Detroit should have been doing, as we discussed last night, sprinkling in a few vets in there. Jeff Green's still hooping for Houston. That'd be a perfect fit for a Detroit team.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to be able to see that on back-to-back days and kind of see, because their young talent is similar. I mean, when you look at Green and Cunningham and Jabari Smith and I forget the other guys, Ivy over in Detroit. Detroit doesn't have a veteran guy who's been there, and Van Vliet is their best player, and he's their leader on that team, and it's clear, and that I think is very helpful for some of those younger guys. I see them probably developing much quicker.
Yeah, Van Vliet from Rockford, Auburn, according to Dan Gable, who knows the state line well. I don't know if you know that or not.
I know that he knows the state line. I did not know that Van Vliet was from that area.
Yeah, about 30 minutes from where I grew up. So lots of lead changes back and forth in the first quarter, Drew.
Yeah, from the start, it felt more like a playoff game than the last couple of games that they've played. And Houston really wanted this game, and I think that tone kind of kept itself through most of the game and deep into the fourth quarter.
And it looked like Bobby got into it, at least was John, a little bit with Jeff Green. Seems to me Bobby's always looking for an excuse to get fired up and get into somebody's grill, get the crowd into it. Seems to play better that way.
For sure. And I think he should probably pace himself a little bit. I understand this is a stretch that they want to win these games and build a bit of a cushion going into the All-Star break. But we don't need to do it every game, Bobby.
And Bucks win the first quarter, 33-28. Starting the second, Eason got going a little bit for the Rockets. Looks like a nice player, can run the floor, block shots. You like him?
Very unfamiliar with his game until today, but he did give them something. They're not a particularly big team, and they don't rebound the basketball very well. And the Bucks exposed that, and he was kind of the one that was trying to put a stop to it.
Yeah, it seemed to me that the Bucks had an emphasis on controlling the defensive glass and didn't really allow the Rockets to get on the offensive boards.
Yeah, and I think they had 16 offensive rebounds tonight. I'm not sure how many second chance points. I'm sure it was up around 30. They just dominated them on the offensive glass, and they're just not. I don't see anybody on that roster that really just stands out as, an elite level rebounder at all.
Right, and the Bucks were playing with Brooke and Bobby in the lineup together. Tough to get on the glass when those two are in the lineup, and those guys really play good together.
Yeah, Bobby is a veteran on this team, and as the season goes on, I think he finds his way with most of the players pretty well. But being able to bring in Bobby and pair Bobby with Brooke, or having Bobby in with Giannis, or Giannis and Brooke as you start the game, but that's just the Bucks rebound very, very well, and teams that don't, they are going to expose that, and they should.
Yeah, early on in the season, I felt like the Bucks did a poor job on the defensive glass, but they've seemed to make an emphasis and clean that up a bit.
Yeah, I don't think the guards rebound particularly well, and I think that's probably where MarJon and Jackson kind of give the most value, because those guys, and Pat, when you can get good minutes, Pat coming back helps a lot. He's a good rebounder from the guard position. But when you can put guards in there that can rebound with the elite level that the Bucks bigs rebound with, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, rebounding wins championships.
Speaking of defense, the Rockets come in with the second best scoring defense in the league this year. They were kind of vocal about trying to hold the Bucks under 100 points this game. What'd you see from their defense?
They play hard. I don't know that they got necessarily got the results that they want. I think against a lot of teams in the NBA, if you play that hard, you can be a really good defensive team. I think against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks that have guys like Giannis and Dame and Chris Middleton, professional NBA scorer, it's going to be hard to just play hard against those teams and win. You've got to be smart. You've got to be a cohesive unit, and they're just not there yet.
Drew, it looked like the Bucks were in drop coverage most of the night and had an emphasis on running the Rockets off the three-point line and kind of settling for mid-range jumpers, kind of reminiscent of Coach Bud's defense.
Yeah, and shout out Coach Griff for, reading the scouting report. They're a good three-point shooting team, and they've got some young athletic guys who can get to the rim and finish around the rim. And so if you can keep those guys in the mid-range, that is exactly what you wanted to do this.
In the last couple games, we were talking about how aggressive the Bucks were hedging. Didn't see a lot of that tonight, or as much of that tonight.
No, and I think that's, kind of to your point of getting back in that drop zone and running people off the three-point line, right? You're not going to do that as much. You're not going to hedge as much when you're worried about the guys that are going to be shooting. And so, again, shout out Griff, kudos to the players for executing a game plan and doing what they wanted to do from the beginning.
Yeah, and the Bucks went into the half up 11, 71-60. And then in the third quarter, Bucks came out a little lackluster there early on.
Yeah, the energy wasn't great, and it's never good to see that coming out of halftime. But Rockets have a good coach, and he made adjustments at half and got those guys motivated and fired up. And Bucks weren't ready for it, and thankfully they were able to kind of flip it.
Yeah, Ajax got an offensive rebound, kicked it out for a three for Dame, which kind of sustained their run.
Dame shot it well. Dame's starting to warm up, and that is really, really, really nice to see.
And then Pat took a Dylan Brooks elbow to the face, defending him there in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think they originally called that a bucket, and then they went back and reviewed it and called it an offensive foul, which it clearly was. Brooks plays hard, but part of playing hard sometimes is he's a little bit of a dirty player, and he definitely kind of cocked up and back and went for Pat's face. And glad they were able to get that call overturned, but that was a big momentum boost for the Bucks too, because it looked like Houston was starting to get something going.
Speaking of Dame shooting the ball well, back-to-back 30-point nights for him.
Yeah. 39 on a back-to-back. I don't know exactly how many minutes he played, but it felt like he played a ton. It felt like Giannis played a ton. And he looks like he's starting to get it all figured out. He had a couple defensive plays today too. And it's just, very good to see.
Bucks lose the third quarter by 2. They end up holding the lead 100-91 after 3. We discussed the Rockets' aspirations of holding the Bucks under 100 points for the entire game. They couldn't even hold us under 100 points through 3 quarters, Drew.
Yeah, Milwaukee Bucks have professional scorers on that offense, and they're going to score a lot of points on a lot of people this year. I understand the goal going into it, but just tough to do with those guys out there.
Then the Bucks started the fourth. Chris got on a nice little run there.
Yeah, Chris was turning it back and turning it up, and it just felt like every time they needed a bucket and Giannis had to go out and Dame was already out, and they went to him for a couple possessions, and that's where it started getting that real kind of playoff feel to me. I think that was back and forth. I mean, Chris would come down and hit a big shot, and they were playing pretty good defense, and Houston was able to just score on them. And Chris kind of kept the lead during that stretch, and I think that's ultimately what won the game. Yeah,
they were playing hard for Ime Udoka. No quit in the Rockets for sure, so hats off to them. Giannis grabbed his 14th board of the night, which made him the all-time leading rebounder in Bucks history, so another milestone for Giannis to cross off. And then one of the things I noticed there is Marcus Johnson is actually the 4th all-time leading rebounder in Bucks history. Did you know that? Did you think he rebounded the ball like that?
He could rebound the ball, and he had the longevity, but I didn't think he was that high on the list.
And then eventually the Rockets got it down to 3, Drew.
They don't quit. They're a lot like that Pacers team, where they have guys that play hard, and when you got a guy like Van Vliet that can score the ball like he can score the ball and run an offense the way that he runs an offense, they're not going to go away. You have to put them away.
And then Chris took a hard foul on Dylan Brooks. I'm wondering if that is retribution for the hard foul on Pat Kahn.
Are you talking about the one right at the end of the game?
It was towards the end of the game.
Where Brooks got thrown out?
No, it was before that. Brooks was complaining to the ref, kind of saying that if that was me that made that foul, you'd be looking at it twice for a flagrant. They didn't even look at it a second time because it was Chris. And that's just reputation, I think. Yeah,
and it should. Reputation precedes you, and it should. Chris is considered one of the all-time good guys in the NBA, and everybody universally likes him. And nobody really likes Dylan Brooks, not even his own teammates. I mean, coaches might be the only ones who like him. So, yeah.
And then Ime Udoka was counting while Giannis was on the free throw line. I thought that was tacky.
He has some petty moments, some tacky moments. Remember he got into it with LeBron earlier this year?
Yeah.
I mean, What are you doing, dude? You're the coach.
I think he's trying to give his team to play with an edge, and I think you can see that his team does play with an edge. So I really like the job he's done this year.
Yeah, he's definitely getting them to play with an edge. I don't know. Maybe that's just how you have to relate to some of these younger guys now. Maybe I'm just so old. I have no idea how to get across to them and get them to play with some edge. But it's working, but it seems weird.
And then Ajax with some late hustle plays. He had 35 minutes tonight, Drew.
Wow. Yeah, and he earned them, right? Like his job is to defend and give effort and hit shots when he's open and hopefully not hit the side of the backboard from the corner. But yeah, he earned his minutes, and his effort definitely played into them winning the game.
I think you can put that Reddit conspiracy to bed that the Bucks were not playing him to hold on to him after the trade deadline.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that in the first place, but injuries kind of play into that too. Like necessity plays into that. So you're without Pat, and you're without Jay, and Beasley's out. Like somebody's got to get those minutes, and he's getting more of them because he's earning them.
Yep, and then late, Ime and Dylan Brooks both got tossed.
Yeah, that's not a foul. Like they're both going for the ball. Chris pushed him because he was in front of him. That's going to happen. His reaction, I don't think, was that he really thought he got fouled. I think he was just frustrated with the outcome of the game and maybe trying to get his guys fired up for the next game, and coach went and followed suit. So I don't know. That's what they're doing down there. Then maybe it'll work.
And then my last takeaway is Jalen Green was real quiet tonight. I'm not sure exactly what he had in the box score, but I remember a few years back he gave Drew Holiday the absolute work. I think he put 40 on Drew Holiday and just put him in the spin cycle and was absolutely silent tonight.
Yeah, he is a very, very good scorer. He is crazy athletic and very, very quick. He kind of got thrown the keys to that team when they drafted him. And now that there's a new coach and a very highly paid point guard to come in and kind of take his role on the team, I don't know how connected he's been, how engaged he is right now. Not implying that he's not. Also looked like he may have got hurt. Not sure, was that late in the second, early in the third? He kind of took a fall and was slow to get back up and ended up staying out there, but that could have played into it too. And it could have been the Bucks defense.
Yeah, let's take a look at the totals. And the Bucks end up winning, Drew, 128-119. The Bucks actually shot worse from the field than the Rockets. Rockets at 52%, Bucks at 50%. So both teams really shot it well. And the Rockets actually significantly better from 40% to 36%. I think where the Bucks made up the biggest difference is the total rebounds. Bucks out-rebounded the Rockets 46-31, Drew.
Yeah, murdered them on the glass. I think we talked about that earlier. Rockets don't rebound the basketball particularly well, and the Milwaukee Bucks do. 16 offensive rebounds. 16 offensive rebounds. That's a lot.
Other than that, every other category seemed to go the Rockets' way. They had less turnovers than us, 9-15. They had more steals, 8-4, more blocks, 4-1, more assists, 28-25. So the rebounding really was the story here.
Yeah, rebounding, and we shot 11 more free throws than they did.
And the Rockets box score, Sengun had 20 points, 8 rebounds. Van Fleet went for 22. Dylan Brooks had 18. Jeff Green, 16. Jabari Smith had 16. Eason had 11. I like that young player. And Jalen Green actually had 16. So he wasn't exactly silent tonight, but didn't seem to have an impact on winning.
Yeah, I mean, that's really balanced scoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dudes with 15 or more.
Yeah. And then the Bucks box score, Brook had 18 and 6. Giannis went for 26 and 17. Dame had 39 and 11 assists. Ajax went for 9, 6, and 4, really filling up the box score. But his impact is also not seen in the box score, Drew.
Correct. He's got that Bobby Portis in him where he brings more than the stat.
Mids had 20. Bobby Portis had 11 and 6. And Beauchamp went scoreless tonight and just 1 rebound. Other than that, he didn't fill up the stat column.
Yeah, 13 minutes. I don't know that he played a whole lot. Campaign was not very good. I think that was probably the low light of the game. I don't know what he shot from 3, but I don't think he made any.
Yeah, Cam's been quiet the last 2-3 games. So it'd be nice to get him back in a groove. And let's move on to some subscriber comments. Angry Bird M says, Robin looks so washed. He also corrected my spelling on breaking. Drew, your thoughts on Robin Lopez?
He doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a good signing. But in fairness, the minutes have been sparse at best.
See, I don't mind the signing. I don't mind the signing just because he's Brooks' brother. And also it's a 1-year deal. So that deal is going to be able to be moved at the trade deadline. He's going to be a piece that is going to be desirable to teams that want to rebuild for next year.
That's fair, but there's tons of guys out there you could sign to a 1-year deal.
He's got history with us, and he's got DNA on our starting lineup.
Yeah. So does Thanasis.
Right. So we got 2 roster spots just kind of marinating out there. And then from our boy Dave Skelf, he says they should hire Jackie Moon from the Flint Tropics for veteran presence in Detroit. Drew?
Jackie Moon, semi-pro reference.
Right.
Like, fair.
If we're talking about fictional or movie characters, I say they sign Jimmy Chitwood. Now, Jackie can shoot it too, but Jimmy's proven to be more clutch than Jackie. So I'd go with Chitwood.
Yeah, if the debate is who's going to help you on the court more, I'll go with Chitwood. But bringing Jackie Moon gives you more than just on-court, awareness and shooting and passing ability. He can promote. He can fundraise.
Good point.
Puts butts in the seats.
That's true.
Detroit needs somebody that can put butts in the seats.
Shout out to Dave Scalf and his recent retirement from the Milwaukee Bucks organization. From all accounts, he went out with nothing but class and respect. So shout out to Dave. And then, Drew, I wanted to get your thoughts. Philly is a cheesesteak town. Chicago's deep dish pizza. Milwaukee is a corned beef town. Who's got the best corned beef in the mill, Drew? I got up here, obviously, McBob's, Benji's, Jake's. What's your favorite, Drew?
I don't know that I can pick a favorite. I don't know that I can do it. It's too close for me.
Which of the 3 have you been to the most?
McBob's.
Me too. I didn't grow up. I lived on 49th and North for a while, so I went to McBob's 30 times in the summer.
Yeah, I would probably pick McBob's because it's the one I had the most when I was a kid. I don't know. As an adult, it's hard to pick against any of them. It's hard for me.
So we're just going to remain indifferent.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to go with McBob's on the nostalgia factor.
All right, you're going with McBob's. I'm going to go with Benji's just for the dining experience. They got that like old school counter you can walk up to, although so does Jake's. I think Benji's is in a little better part of town, but you might dig that by going to Jake's. So I'm going with Benji's. Drew's going with McBob's. Let us know down in the comments what your favorite corned beef spot is in Milwaukee.
That's a great question. That's a great topic.
And then, Drew, Bucks' upcoming schedule. Obviously, they beat the Rockets tonight. They will have the Spurs on the 19th, which is Tuesday. And the game I'm looking forward to is on Thursday against Orlando. That should be a fun one.
Yeah, Orlando's playing really well. Their young Suggs, Banchero, those guys are playing really well. I don't know that they're going to be able to sustain it, but Banchero had a big night tonight. Brunson had a big night. So, San Antonio is not very good, but it'll be really cool to see Wembanyama play. But Orlando, New York, that's gonna be kind of a tough 2-game stretch.
Should be fun to see what the Bucks can do. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content tonight. We appreciate the support, and any comments that you guys could give, we'd be more than happy to respond to during the next podcast. Well, Drew, that's all I have for the night. Again, the Bucks beat the Rockets. They're back at it again Tuesday versus the Spurs. That's all I have. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Deuces.
Thank you.